The desert highway stretched ahead of us like a copper ribbon, shimmering under the brutal New Mexico sun. The air was dry, the kind that cracks your lips if you breathe too long without water. Samuel had both hands steady on the wheel of our old solar hybrid truck, humming an old rancher tune. For the first time in months, I actually felt calm. We were finally taking a short weekend trip north, just the two of us, to a solar retreat in Colorado. After everything life had thrown at us since retirement, it felt well-deserved. Then my phone rang. Nathan's name flashed across the screen. My heart tightened as it always did. Our only son, 41 years old, still struggling to stand on his own 2 feet. I swiped to answer. "Mom," his voice sounded oddly soft. "Are you guys already on the road?" "Yeah, honey, just past mile marker 62, I replied, smiling despite the heat. "Good. Listen, Tanya and Leo are packing now. We thought maybe we'd follow you up there like a family trip. It's been a while, hasn't it?" Something inside me leapt. Leo, our grandson. We hadn't seen him properly in months, not since Tanya's frosty silence began. "Oh, Nathan, I'd love that," I said. "Great. Can you do me a small favor?" His tone shifted, quick but subtle. "There's a satchel, black leather, pretty heavy, just some parts for the car. Tanya says there's no space left in our trunk. Could you take it with you? I'll pick it up when we get there." Without thinking, I said yes. We'd done favors like that 1,000 times. Helping Nathan had always been second nature, even when it hurt us financially. The satchel sat behind my seat now, plain, unassuming. 2 hours later, somewhere between the dusty gas stations and the endless scrubland, my phone rang again. Nathan. "Mom," he said, breathing unevenly. "You didn't open the bag, did you?" A chill cut through the desert heat. "Why would I open it?" I asked slowly. "No reason," he rushed. Then quiet, almost like a goodbye, "I love you, Mom." My hands went cold. Nathan wasn't the kind of man who said, "I love you" casually. In 41 years, I could count those moments on one hand. I turned to Samuel, my voice shaking. "Pull over, now." "Ellie, what's going on?" "Pull over." The truck screeched to the shoulder, gravel spitting out behind us. My pulse pounded in my ears as I reached for the satchel. The zipper stuck for a second, then slid open with a hiss. Under folded clothes and Leo's old red hoodie, something metallic gleamed. Carefully wrapped in heat-resistant cloth were 3 illegal micro-energy chips, the kind banned after the 2041 highway attack. My throat closed. "Samuel," I whispered, my voice barely there. "He used us." Samuel stared at the chips, his tan face turning ashen. In that moment, the silence between us was louder than the wind outside. We both knew exactly what this meant. Those chips weren't car parts. They were contraband, dangerous, traceable, and they were in our truck. I clenched the satchel until my knuckles whitened. "Turn the truck around," I said, trembling. "Now." Samuel didn't ask a single question. He just gripped the steering wheel and made a sharp U-turn across the empty desert highway. The truck's tires screamed against the asphalt. I clutched the satchel against my chest like it might explode. My heart hammered so hard I could hear it in my ears. This wasn't just a bad decision Nathan had made. This was criminal, federal criminal. And if we were caught carrying these chips, no one would care that we were just 2 retirees trying to help our son. We'd spend the rest of our lives behind bars. "Ellie," Samuel said, voice steady but tight. "Who are we calling?" "The Energy Security Bureau," I whispered. "They need to know. We can't outrun this." As I dialed the emergency line, my phone buzzed again. "Nathan." I hesitated, then answered. "Mom, why'd you turn around?" he demanded. "What's in this bag, Nathan?" My voice cracked. Silence. "Mom, listen to me. Just keep driving. Please, you don't understand." "No, you don't understand. You put your own parents in danger. Do you realize what's inside this bag?" "I had no choice," he shouted. "If I didn't do this, Leo." "Don't you dare," I snapped, rage breaking through my fear. "Don't you dare use my grandson to justify this." I hung up before he could say more. The emergency operator picked up almost immediately. Energy Bureau dispatch. What's your emergency? This is Eleanor Cortez, I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. My son placed contraband energy chips in our vehicle without our knowledge. We're on Highway 285, mile marker 107, heading south. He's following us. Please send someone. Ma'am, remain calm, the dispatcher instructed. Units are en route. Do not stop your vehicle. Repeat, do not stop. Maintain speed. Do not confront the suspects. I turned to Samuel. They're coming, I whispered. He nodded, eyes fixed on the mirror. A small black SUV was gaining fast behind us. My stomach dropped. Nathan's car. The desert stretched endless on both sides, no exits, no places to hide. Nathan pulled up beside us, honking, waving frantically for us to pull over. Tanya was in the passenger seat, her face twisted into something between fear and fury. Keep driving, I breathed. Don't you stop, Sam. But Nathan's newer, faster vehicle swerved in front of us and slammed on the brakes. Samuel hit the brakes just in time, the seatbelt digging into my chest as the truck screeched to a stop inches behind him. Nathan jumped out of his SUV, pounding on Samuel's window. His face was red, eyes wild. Mom, open the door, he shouted. Why'd you turn around? Samuel locked the doors with a decisive click. Nathan, I said through the glass, my voice breaking, call the authorities. His expression changed in an instant, shock, then panic. You what? Mom, are you insane? Do you know what you've done? Tanya yanked on his arm. Nathan, let's go now. They ran back to their SUV just as the distant wail of sirens cut through the desert air. Nathan threw the car into gear and sped off, disappearing down the highway in a cloud of dust. Samuel exhaled, shaky but controlled. They're running, he said. Good, I whispered, because I'm done running for him. Blue and white patrol drones appeared overhead, scanning the vehicles. 2 enforcement cruisers approached fast from the horizon. The dispatcher's voice came back through the phone. Ma'am, stay where you are. Officers will arrive momentarily. You did the right thing. I didn't feel like I had. My hands were still shaking around the satchel. The desert wind howled through the cracked window, carrying with it the weight of 41 years of motherhood, of excuses, of forgiveness, of hoping he'd change. This time, I hadn't protected him. I'd protected us. The sun had started to set by the time the patrol cars reached us. The desert sky burned orange and pink, stretching wide and endless above the highway. Samuel turned off the engine. For a moment, neither of us spoke. We just sat there, 2 old people, breathing heavily, our lives suddenly split in 2, before the satchel and after. The officers were calm and professional. They took the black satchel as evidence and listened carefully as we explained everything. The phone calls, the sudden U-turn, the confrontation. I watched their faces tighten when they unwrapped the microchips. You did the right thing, ma'am. One of the older officers told me, his gaze steady. These are worth millions on the black market. We've seen smugglers use elderly family members before, but not many call us in time. I nodded numbly, clutching Samuel's hand as if it were the only solid thing left in the world. Leo comes home. 2 days later, they found Nathan and Tanya near the Colorado border. Leo had been in the car with them. My heart stopped when I heard that, but the officer assured me he was physically unharmed. He'd been placed with child services for the night. The next morning, we were sitting in a cramped office at the Department of Family Services. Leo entered wearing his favorite red hoodie, creased, dusty, his hair sticking up in every direction. His big brown eyes searched the room until they landed on me. "Grandma," he whispered. I opened my arms. He ran to me and buried his face in my chest, just like he used to when he was little, and scraped his knees on the porch steps. His small body shook with silent tears. "Let's go home, sweetheart," I whispered into his hair. A new routine. The house felt different with a child in it again. Samuel fixed up the old guest room and turned it into Leo's space. We enrolled him in the local public STEM school, the same district where Samuel used to drive the bus route. Our days quickly fell into rhythm. Breakfast together, Leo off to school, homework at the kitchen table, Samuel teaching him to fix old solar bike motors in the garage. No more luxury toys, no private academies, just simple things, honest things. One night, as I tucked him in, he asked, "Grandma, why did my parents do it?" The question hit me like a blade, clean, honest, impossible to dodge. "They made a bad choice," I said gently. "They were scared, but being scared doesn't make what they did right. Are they bad guys? No, they're people who made terrible decisions." He held his teddy bear tighter. "Do you still love Dad?" I took a shaky breath. "A mother's love doesn't disappear when someone makes mistakes, Leo. But loving someone doesn't mean you agree with what they did. Sometimes love means saying enough." He nodded slowly, absorbing more than most adults would. The trial. 6 months later, Samuel and I sat in the front row of the federal courtroom in Santa Fe. Leo stayed with a neighbor. The case had made headlines. Retired couple unknowingly used to smuggle energy chips by their own son. When Nathan walked in wearing a beige prison jumpsuit, I barely recognized him. He looked older, thinner, haunted. He couldn't meet my eyes at first. Tanya looked even more transformed. Without her makeup and polished exterior, she seemed smaller, almost fragile. When it was my turn to testify, my legs trembled as I approached the stand. "Mrs. Cortez," the prosecutor asked, "when did you realize something was wrong?" When Nathan called me and told me not to open the bag, I said, my throat tightening. And then he told me he loved me. That wasn't normal for him. I described the satchel, the chips, the highway confrontation. I didn't look at Nathan while I spoke. I couldn't. The defense lawyer tried to paint our financial support as enabling, as if our generosity had created his desperation. But I held my ground. "Saying no once after years of saying yes doesn't justify betraying your own parents," I said firmly. Nathan eventually took the stand. For the first time in years, he didn't make excuses. He admitted he'd let Tanya pressure him, that he'd always relied on us to fix his messes. "I never learned to stand on my own," he said, his voice breaking, "because I always knew my parents would catch me." Tanya confessed too, shockingly calm. She admitted the plan was hers, that she believed no one would ever suspect 2 old people in a truck. They were both sentenced to 4 years in federal prison, with the possibility of early work release if they cooperated with investigations. Leo was placed under our full custody. The porch packed. That night after the verdict, Samuel and I sat on our porch as the desert wind swept through the mesquite trees. Above us, the stars glittered like scattered glass. Leo was asleep inside, his small snores echoing through the open window. "Do you think he's really going to change?" I asked quietly. Samuel thought for a moment. "I don't know. Prison changes people, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. But we can change what happens to Leo." I took his weathered hand in mine. "Then that's what we'll do, one day at a time." Epilogue 1 year later. Leo turned 12 the following fall. We threw him a small party in the backyard, homemade cake, paper lanterns, kids from school. No lavish gifts, just a second-hand solar bike Samuel had spent weeks restoring. When the call came from the prison, Nathan's voice cracked when he heard Leo laugh in the background. "Thanks, Mom," he said softly, "for taking care of him, for doing what I couldn't." I didn't say much. I didn't need to. Some love is loud, some love is quiet, steady like desert wind. As the lanterns swayed overhead, I looked at Leo, really looked. He was growing into his own person. Grounded, strong. Nathan had broken something the day he put those chips in our truck. But in that same moment, we had chosen to save something else. Family. The right way this time.